Hello. Hope you guys doing fantastic today. Inflation hit us pretty hard. I see massive amount of complaints and the messages everywhere on Discord and stream saying that the prices of the items for this build are absolutely unattainable. People can't really get like plus melee skill weapons with the stats that they're looking for, and so I decided to make a video that might be one of the most important videos for you to watch, because I've noticed since I started making content for PoE 2, uh, on the start of early access for my previous builds, there is absolutely massive amount of people that, when it comes to getting items, they get items that, let me put it this way, it's important to have deep understanding of what items, how the build functions, and what items and what abilities, stats you're looking for. Otherwise, you're going to be buying items with stats that don't really do anything, and this is where the difference in power might come from. People just buying items with stats that just don't really do much for them, and then being surprised that oh, I have similar items to you and stuff like that, and I'm doing 2 times less damage. This is exactly why. Um, I'm going to give you an example. I had 2 people or 3 people last week messaging me, trying to copy the Shaolin build. That is the strength stacking pillar build. So I had on this build 1100 strength, and the people that messaged me, I asked them like, show me your gear, right? Because they were like complaining that they have 5 times, 7 times less damage and ES. So they showed me their gear, their abilities, and they had 200 strength, right? Like I had 1100 strength, they had 200 strength. So I would say that one of the most important things when it comes to build making and trying to more or less copy how the build functions is trying to understand how the build basically what items do you need to find, and importance of these items, importance of the particular stats, to reach similar results. So in this video, this is going to be a guide. Let's just call it a guide, where I'm going to be showing you guys what items I have currently, because I made upgrades today, and I'm going to try to show you how to search for items and the most important stats, that you don't overpay for stats that you just don't need. So let's jump into it. So first of all, we have weapons. I improved one of my weapons today. Perhaps you watched my previous video when I was talking about how overpowered the dual wielding is and why. So I'm not going to talk about weapons for a very long time, but I'm still going to show you guys how to get something that's going to be, what is important, right? So when it comes to weapons, I'm going to, I'm going to have a simulation for every single piece of equipment. So let's just go over here. Let's just pick 200 mace, because that's what we're looking for. And we're going to put melee skills in there. And let's just say that we're going to have 6. And the most important stats on melee maces, generally speaking, is going to be melee skills and increased elemental damage with attacks. Why these stats are the most important ones? Because they stack. So if you're going to get plus 6 on both weapons, that is plus 12 total for all of your hits, all of your abilities. If you're going to have 100 increased elemental damage with attacks on both weapons, that's going to be 200% global. So first, foremost, we want to get stats that work for the entire build, right? That stack together. And then we want to focus on other things. So elemental damage with attacks. We're just going to put it like 88 here, right? Let's just say 88 for a good start. And let's search and see how much weapons like these would cost. And as you can see, a few days ago, a weapon like this would be 1 exalt. Right now, it's a little bit more expensive. But as you can see, these are more or less weapons that I showed you in my very first video. This is pretty much what I was using, right? This one is, I would say, even a little bit better. And on top of that, it's a cultist grey hammer. So you have you can buy something like that. You can slam it twice. This is something you can definitely look for. If you see that the weapon, that the item that you're looking for has 4 or 3 good modifiers and open affixes, then you can, and it's cheap, then you can totally buy that and try to slam it once or twice to see if you're actually going to get something really, really good. That's totally a strategy, and I do that sometimes. But as you can see here, you can totally get something reasonably decent. Some of these weapons are better than the ones I used on the video from 3 days ago when I first showcased the video. So for 15 exalts, it's not going to be that bad to get something, you know, in proximity of what I used. Once again, some of them are even better. So if you want to keep on going, we can get like, and this is what you should be doing always. Like you see, you select the stats that you're looking for, and you see, oh, like my budget is higher than that, right? I don't need to worry about this really. My budget is higher. I can invest more. So you just switch this from 6 to 7, for example, and then you search again, and then you see that +7. This one is even has some attack speed. +7 with 102% wed. It's going to be 2 divines, and it's like, you might say, I was planning on like spending about 1 divine per weapon or something like that because that's my budget, right? So once again, you go over here, you put 6, but you increase your wet a little bit to 110 per weapon, which, you know, the going from 88 to 110 per weapon is going to be boost of 22% elemental damage per weapon. That's 44%. That's like 2 notables. So that's a decent amount of damage, extra damage, right? So you search again, and boom. You still have weapons that are around 20 exalts, right? So you at this point you might be like, maybe I'm going to keep on increasing the elemental damage with attacks. Or at this point you might be, oh, maybe I'm just going to put like physical damage, right? So I'm going to start getting some more physical damage over time. And if you start increasing phys, all of a sudden the price skyrockets, right? But if you're planning on getting something like, for example, I don't know, fire damage to attacks, I think it's this stat, then the damage is still going to be pretty low. And once again, it doesn't really matter as long as you don't plan on like getting very, very high phys on those lower budget weapons. It doesn't really matter if you have elemental damage or physical damage because it's all getting converted to fire, right? It will matter on Perfect Strike, I think, because Perfect Strike by default. Wait, yeah, the Perfect Strike by default converts 80% of your physical to fire. So for Perfect Strike, physical would be better because you're going to convert 100% of your physical to fire. Elemental, you're only going to be converting 75%. And by elemental, I mean cold and lightning, because fire, obviously, you still get 100%, right? But for Leap Slam, you can get any source of damage and it's going to be the same, right? For Leap Slam, it doesn't matter. So yeah, basically this is how you want to try to find the appropriate weapon for yourself. Try to manipulate with these prices. As you can see, the prices for weapons that are, you know, low budget, the ones that I showed you in the first video a few days ago, are still 100% tolerable. It's going to get worse once you want to get like a better weapons, right? I bought this weapon, for example, today for which one I bought? I think I bought this one, right? And I bought this one for 8 divines. And this is a weapon that I'm not going to exchange for a long time. It's nowhere near as good as it could be still, of course. But this is not going to be a weapon I'm going to exchange for a long time. And I got about additional 20% more damage by getting this one. It's a shame that it's not +7 to all melee skills, but I would say that for now, these weapons are going to be totally fine. Because I hit from Perfect Strike like a truck anyway at this point, so yeah. This is pretty much how you're supposed to search for a weapon. Now, let's get to a helmet. We're going to go over every single piece of equipment. Now, I'm not going to be talking about every single piece of equipment for 8 minutes, but you know, once you get the idea how to look for the items, I think that the guide is going to fulfill its goal, right? So when it comes to helmets, this build, generally speaking, gets a little bit of armor, and by a little bit I mean actually pretty decent amount. I can hear now people like memeing like, oh, armor is useless. Like, why are you going for armor? Armor is good on this build for multiple reasons. Number one, we have very high elemental damage mitigation, very, very high. Which means that at this point, if we cap chaos, the only way we can increase our tankiness is by getting more life or more armor. So armor at this point is going to definitely help us mitigating physical damage. For example, with the armor that I have and the physical mitigation that I have, I can tank a slam from the monkey boss in the tier 16 map. It happened yesterday on stream. I have 4 point almost 3k life now, and the slam did about 3000 damage. So only 3000 damage from a monkey slam at tier 16 map. That's the fact that you can tank this, which is I think the highest physical damage in the game, ability. That's something, right? You can't say that it's not. So armor. Let's just take a look at helmets. So basically, what you're looking for is like you can just say get 700 armor here. You're probably not going to get 1200 armor helmet, but let's just say something like this, and let's just say maximum life, right? 122 or something like that. This helmet is actually not very good because both cold and lightning resistances are not very good, but I found this one for really, it wasn't expensive, let's just put it this way, so I just bought it. And the armor on this is very nice, but you're gonna get armor like this. Oh, look at this, 10 exalts, chaos resistance, maximum life. You can slam it twice, maybe if you you get armor. Fantastic option, 10 exalts, right? Oh, excuse me, this is standard. Oops. Oh, but there's even more. There's even more options here. So I guess like we're sitting at 1 exalt per 1 exalt per helmet. Maybe we can add chaos resistance on top of that. Let's just say like I don't know, we're gonna get 12 chaos resistance, a little bit, or maybe 15, maybe a little bit more life, and boom, right? Looking all of a sudden it dropped to 13 results, but still at this point you can get for pretty cheap. You can get some good options, as you can see. Life, good chaos resistance, intelligence. That's not useless. Good amount of life, very nice helmet for 10 exalts. Something tells me that, oh, this helmet is fantastic. 1 divine, still not that expensive, and 700 armor with massive resistances and chaos resistance, 200 life. Very nice helmet, right? You get the idea. If something it costs too much, or you can, for example, change it completely. Like let's just say that you have no problems with chaos resistance because you have chaos resistance somewhere else on your rings, whatever, right? No problem. You just add instead the other stat that this build stacks, which is going to be strength. You put 20, I don't know, 6 strength, whatever, and you search again. Chaos resistance, typically speaking, is very, very expensive on the equipment because it's a rare stat. It's hard to get high amount of chaos resistance. So if you can get chaos resistance somewhere else, all of a sudden you can get helmet like this, which is a very nice helmet for 5 exalts. So this is not much worse. In some cases, this is better than my helmet. 10 exalts. Look at this. 10 exalts. Double rest, T1 life, T1 strength, T1 life, decent amount of armor. Boom. You have similar helmet to mine. If you want to have a little bit more fun, boom, boom, boom. You put 900 armor if you have a higher budget, and boom, 1000 armor with strength, with life. With additional resistance, boom. Here you have T1 strength, intelligence, which could be useful depending on what you're planning to do. Boom, right? This one is even without the rune. So 15 minutes ago, guy listed. This one is really nice. It has some rarity on top of that. The next one is 25 divines with rarity, critical hit chance. This is not good for us, but it has very high armor. So yeah, that's it when it comes to helmets. Very simple. The most basic stats. The requirements, what you need to have in this build are very simple. Generally speaking, it's going to be more armor, more life, more strength, and that's how it looks like. And then you're trying to cap your chaos resistance whatever you can and get fire resistance on as many pieces of equipment as possible, because that's just how Smith of Kitava works. We don't need to get a lot of it because we get so much resistance from Cold Stoker. So this is a great build for like a, I don't want to say for beginners, because for beginners also for people that want to play on lower budgets, like Smith of Kitava is a great choice, right? Next up, we have plate, and plate is very simple. In my opinion, the best plate in the game for this build is ornate plate, because it's going to give you up to 2.5% maximum life per second. That is a lot of regeneration in a single slot. And also, you can scale regeneration very nicely, because you can get 2.5% here, plus, which I am using currently, and also this is how some people were asking me how do they deal with mana cost, which turns into a life cost on Leap Slam. This is how I'm doing it: 5% maximum life per second from nether bindings, and with this and this, I have 7.5% regeneration per second. Only from this. Then I have another 0.5% from this node, and boom, I have 8% almost for like, it costs me almost nothing, right? And I have 8%, so that mitigates the cost of Leap Slam completely. On top of that, you can put on your Leap Slam, for example, you can get more stuff. Like, for example, Consecrated Ground, I forgot what its name was, Holy Descent support, which will give you Consecrated Ground wherever you land. That's 5% regen again. So that's going to jump from 8% to 13%. And at this point, at 13%, if you want to, for example, invest into these 3 points, which is not a lot of investment, and maybe this one on top of that, you'll be sitting at almost 20% regen. That is a lot at this point. That is like a permanent life flask. That if you had like a permanent life flask, it would be like always up. Excuse me, even more than that. Because this one regenerates 500 over 2 seconds, let's just say. With 20% life regen, you will be regenerating, I have 4.2k life, you will be regenerating at over 800 life per second. So that at this point, for this little investment, that is a lot. And this is something, by the way, you can totally do into pinnacle bosses. If you feel like having even more regeneration, then you can just swap something, doesn't matter what really at this point, from Leap Slam to Holy Descent and have Consecrated Ground wherever you land. That's a very nice combo, right? So I think Ornate played the best. Next up, gloves. When it comes to gloves, gloves are also pretty simple. When it comes to gloves, I would say that I think that on gloves, armor is pretty important because we're using this ability, Leather Bound Gauntlets. This increases our armor a lot because you get +1 evasion rating per 1 armor on equipped gloves. And you might ask, yeah, Card, like, what does, like, it doesn't do anything, right? It's evasion. We're on an armor build, but we're using iron reflexes at the same time. So this evasion is going to straight up get converted to armor. What that means, basically, if you have 700 armor on your gloves, with this combo, you have 1400 armor on your gloves, basically, right? So if I take this off, I lose 3000 armor. So this is a massive gargantuan amount. And of course, you can get more armor than this on your gloves if you want to. But yeah. So we're just gonna put some armor. Armor is pretty important in gloves. And whatever at this point, you can just like get some strength, some life, for example. And you're gonna get like, I don't know, 20 strength, like, I don't know, 80 life or something like that. And gloves like these going to be about 35 exalts. Not too bad, not great. If you're gonna want to, like, you know, get a little bit, like, for example, without strength or without life, my gloves don't have life at all. They're not amazing, but they give me chaos resistance, so I mean that's, you know, helps capping the chaos res. But if you don't want to spend too much, then literally just put like strength in there, 25 strength, for example. And if you're gonna get some resistance on top of that, that's going to be perfect. Another decent stat that you can get is flat damage. Why flat damage is so important, you can see on my previous video when I talk about rings. But we're gonna get to that soon also. So yeah, there's some good options. 550 with fire resistance, strength, lightning damage to attacks. If I was on a very low budget, I would buy these gloves in a heartbeat, by the way. Very nice gloves. And then you have T1 strength with 600. That's whatever. Fire damage to attacks with strength. These ones are pretty good too. As you can see, you have options, and it's not that expensive, right? On lower budgets, you can really find something decent. You just need to search. One mistake that people do is that, you know, they search for item once, literally once, and they just try to find whatever best is in you know, whatever search, like at this point they're looking for, and that's it. They never look again. And getting appropriate items, good items, is sometimes a process. I check multiple times sometimes, right? I check like 5 times a day, whatever I have like a minute, to like just to see if something new, very good, popped up on the trade, right? And so I can have some improvements, right? It's not just, oh, I'm going to check once and I'm going to get whatever I can see in there, right? That's not how it works. Sometimes you need to spend a little bit more time than that. So if you have have your search ready, then you can literally just put like this here in your bookmarks or like over here, right? And you just literally click. And it takes 1 second. You click on this, and you just see, boom, you're ready, right? It's that simple. Now, when it comes to boots, boots are interesting. Contrary to what majority of builds would need and what the general consensus in PoE 2 is, I don't think that movement speed is the most important stat on boots, and movement speed increases the price of boots drastically. So what I'm trying to say is that we're leap slamming all the time anyway, and it's not that big of a difference if you have movement speed or not. Now, that being said, I'm not saying that movement speed is a bad stat, and like having at least like, I don't know, 15% or something might be useful if you're like, for example, fighting Arbiter of Ash, because movement speed in this fight is actually pretty important. But for the general mapping, you're not really going to see the difference if you have movement speed or not, because you're just sleep slamming all the time. I don't think you're going to see the difference. And what I'm saying right here might be controversial, but I think that's just the case. I'm sorry. So basically, when it comes to boots, you might be looking for something like this. If you disagree, you might be looking at something like this. Let's just say 20% movement speed, and you definitely want to get like high life, like 122 life. Let's just say, not 1,000. And then we want to get some strength. And at this point, you have 440 options to choose from, most of them being dirt cheap. If you want to continue getting better equipment, then you just put like chaos resistance here, boom. And at this point, you have 11 results, but as you can see, you have like one pair of boots for 5 exalts. And if you look on the lower budget, these boots are absolutely fantastic. These boots are better than the boots I used until today, because today I had an upgrade. These are better than what I used until today, because until today I had boots with 12 chaos resistance and other stats were basically identical. My boots had 5% more movement speed. Another thing that I didn't mention, which is important, is that if you want to see bases that only have armor, then you put one in evasion and one in energy shield. And I don't know, let's just say like we're gonna drop strength to like 17, boom. Want to drop these, and boom. Like these will only have armor at this point, right? So life, strength, lightning, chaos resistance, 25% movement speed. And once again, if you agree with me and you like, it's not a problem for you not to have movement speed, then you just drop this, and all of a sudden you have 6 times more options, and they're all of a sudden multiple times cheaper, right? These are very nice boots. You can still slam one suffix, maybe you're gonna get some nice resistance, and yeah, basically how it works. It's up to you to understand what are the most important stats and then search for the items like appropriately, right? So that's it. Amulet, I'm not even going to search or do anything like that, because Amulet is very simple and extremely simple. I think that everyone should be able to afford Zov's Blood. Even if it's not 15% maximum life, try to get low percent life first and then improve to 15%, and then put 20 catalysts, 20% life catalysts to get 18% maximum life. I'm not going to talk about Anointment because I talked about yesterday. I think Titanic is great, but yeah. You need to be able to afford Zov's Blood. I'm just going to check out of curiosity how much is this, like literally out of curiosity, but I think that Zov's Blood should be very cheap. What am I doing? Zov's Blood. Standard. It always changes to standard for some reason. Guys, like, come on, man. There's 15% one for 1 exalt. Like, are we serious? Given this amulet might be gone, but how many of them are on the market? 2,200? Okay, whatever. So yeah, Zov's Blood, as you can see, not a big problem to get a really good one. I should probably improve mine and get like one with more strength because I have lowest strength implicit possible. So yeah, very good. Now when it comes to rings, rings are tricky because there are many stats that are good in rings. I would say that what you're looking for, the most important stats are fire damage to attacks. And here, let's just say that you want at least 20. Then you want life, at least 88. Then you want strength, at least 22. And then whatever resistances or implicits at this point you can get. This is horrible, but Ruby Ring is the best. Ruby Ring is really good, Amethyst Ring is really good, and Breach Ring is very good. These three are the best ring bases. But if your budget is lower, then you just type something like that, and boom. Alright, you have 60, this is standard again. You have 123 results, and, you know, strength, maximum life, fire damage to attacks, cold resistance, some life regen. Very nice ring for 5 exalts. For the beginning, early on, this is more than enough. This is more than enough. It's absolutely okay. Breach ring, strength, life, fire, lightning resistance, 40 quality, so you can increase this fire damage up to by 40%. It's going to be a very nice amount of flat fire. Flat fire is very important. Keep that in mind. Boom, five exalts plus the quality cost, which is not going to be a lot. This ring, mana is useless, but it has strength, life, nice amount of fire, cold. It's also okay. This one is, I would say, even better because it has evasion. Evasion gets converted to armor. Because once again, keep in mind we use iron reflexes. So boom, another very nice ring. And then that's how it is. Like the price only is going to skyrocket very quickly. The moment you're trying to look for like very specific, very good items, right? This one is fantastic. Good fire damage with fire resistance. If you put fire catalysts here, this will increase also this resistance over here. So it's going to be 34, I believe. This fire damage is going to increase maximum life, strength, and you can still slam and exalt and get lucky, get some res or something. Like if you're gonna get crazy lucky, you're gonna get chaos res or something like that, right? Very nice for 10 exalts. And it just that's the general premise, right? It's just how it goes. This is how it goes. This is how it is. And you can really get some good equipment for like, you know, like my first video that I released from this character that was showcasing maps. I do believe my entire gear was like 1 divine, like about 1 divine. That was my entire gear. Like every piece of equipment about 5 exalts, literally. Weapons were a little bit more. Weapons like 20 exalts each, but that's it. That's literally it, right? On the budget, it's not really that hard to get something really nice. And after that, Infernal Clasp, I have to admit, I got really lucky yesterday because I found Infernal Clasp day 2 of the league when I started mapping. And yesterday I YOLO slammed Val Orb on it, and it turned into 6% maximum fire resistance. Is it a big deal? No, it's not. What it saves me basically is 1 passive point. So don't look at this and say, oh, multiple divines. No. It's just like 1 passive point extra, which is a nice bonus, I guess. But if you don't want to use Infernal Clasp for some reason, if you're looking at something even better, then what you can do, I believe I was searching for these already. Yep. What you can do is on belts you can have implicit plus up to +3 to maximum fire resistance. So basically what you do is you select belt, select rare, +3 to maximum fire resistance, or maybe doesn't have to be rare, it might be unique, right? You select +3 and maximum life or strength or whatever stats you're looking for, fire resistance, and instead of Infernal Clasp you can use something like this. Of course you're going to have +3 instead of +5, so you're going to have to find these +2 somewhere else, but generally speaking you can get a massive amount of extra life that Infernal Clasp does not have. So you can get a massive amount of life from belt extra if you're looking at, making some small changes to your build, generally speaking. This belt, armor, life for 1 divine, chaos resistance, some other stats, very nice, right? This is going to give you absolutely massive amount of, oh, this belt is insane. Oh my lord, it's 15 divines, that's the best build I've seen. I would use that build myself if, I would 100% buy this build myself if I had this currency. 280 armor, T1 life, T1 strength, high chaos. Oh my lord, this belt is cracked. So yeah, you have general idea like how strong items can get, right? This is a nice corruption, and this is something definitely you can look at when it comes to belts. Now I'm going to quickly talk about jewels. Jewels, I think the most important stats on the jewels, generally speaking, are maximum fire resistance and penetration. Why penetration is important? Because the amount of penetration you can get on jewels is a lot. For example, in comparison, you're gonna get about 15% fire damage in comparison. That's basically like a one small notable, more or less, like somewhere else. Like this one, for example, is 12%. So it's not a notable. It's a small node, right? It's going to be one small node. In comparison, 10% fire penetration is like two small notables, right? In comparison to other stats, it's a lot. What you can get on jewels, right? You can get up to 10%. It's gonna be like two small nodes. So a fire pen with combination with exposure, and on top of that, if you want to use flammability like the lowest level possible to not boost your intelligence requirements, this is going to be a great way of getting a very nice amount of fire penetration and basically penetrating majority of the monsters to zero. One of the issues that I had some people mentioning is why do they not do that much damage, not as much damage as I do, even though they have similar tooltip, because they don't have jewels with penetration. This is going to help a lot, because most of the time, together with exposure from Zov's Blood, you'll be penetrating monsters to zero while mapping, and even bosses if you add flammability on top of that. So very nice way to get your boost your damage very nicely, right? One quick thing I'm going to talk about. Many people also asked what bonuses here they should use. So basically, how it works is what I do is charm charges gained. So Act 3 normal Venom Crypts is what I do is Elemental Iron Threshold. Here I get increased life recovery from flasks, and here I get attributes. Now attributes is I think more useful very late game. For a lot of people, chaos resistance can be absolutely fine as well, because chaos resistance, generally speaking, is hard to find on equipment. It's quite expensive, so getting that extra 10% is going to be totally fine. But I took all attributes. You have to just decide yourself which one you prefer to take. Attributes is nice because you don't need to worry about. In reality, this is like 15 strength. It's not +5 to all attributes. It's 15 strength because I don't need to put extra points into dexterity and intelligence. So I save extra strength on the small nodes as well. So yeah, that's how it works, right? But I'm not saying that this is bad. It's just, honestly, it's impossible for me to say which one is better. In my opinion, Chaos Resistance might be better on lower budgets if you don't plan on farming multiple divines, and on higher budgets, Attributes is going to be better because eventually you will get Chaos Resistance, high amounts of Chaos Resistance on your gear, and you're just not going to need it anymore. So you're going to get +5 extra attributes instead. It's going to be better, right? I believe you can't respect these, so that's kind of a problem, but it is what it is. Can't do anything about that. And that's going to be it, pretty much. It just took longer than I wanted to anyway. But I guess when I start talking, it's just there's no stop to it. Thank you very much for watching. Once again, guys, under the video, there is going to be a in the description. There's going to be POB of this character currently. I'm going to post every day, every 2 days. Every time I'm going to upload a video, I'm going to post a new POB so you guys can see the progression, right? How to progress this character. And like jump back to like a previous video and see what I was using before and what was working for me. The progression of this character is very smooth, so that's nice, right? So that's it. Have any questions, please ask in the comments. Once again, I'm going to try to answer every single one. And also, after uploading this video, we're going to do like a shorter stream today. I believe I'm going to be attempting tier 4, the highest tier, Zesht today. So we'll see how it's going to go, right? Thank you very much, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.